Welcome to the deep dive, everyone.
Glad to be here.
So our mission today is to explore the strict hidden architecture behind private banking, specifically how payment account information duties are actually enforced.
Right, which is a lot more complex than it sounds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are diving into this crucial legal and operational framework centered entirely on Luxembourg's 2009 Payment Services Law. And we really want to understand the three major checks that banks basically have to perform to ensure their contracts are legally sound.
Yeah, and for you listening, whether you're a financial professional or, simply someone who relies on banking services, this matters. The mechanics of how and when you are informed about your money are so tightly regulated.
Exactly. Because it's not just about what a bank tells you, right?
No, not at all.
It's about how they can legally prove they told you.
Yeah.
That's the real hook here.
I mean, that is the golden operational rule that we pulled from our sources today. Payment account duties have to be tested and secured through a formal framework contract.
And on a durable medium, right.
Yes, exactly. On a durable medium, never ever through just some flimsy standalone commercial note.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can even get into the three specific checks, we need to understand exactly what we're checking.
Right, the foundation.
Yeah, and why the physical, or I guess digital structure of the agreement matters so much. So first, the law defines a payment account, very specifically under Article 1.5 of that 2009 Payment Services Law.
It's an account held in the name of one or more users, and it is strictly used for payment transactions.
Right.
And the absolute necessity here is that the information has to be provided on that durable medium before the client is even bound by anything.
So to put this in perspective, I like to compare a standalone commercial note to like a sticky note left on a fridge.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. It's easily lost, it's forgotten, and legally it's incredibly flimsy.
Yeah, totally.
But a framework contract is like the structural foundation of a house. So my question is, why exactly is the legal shift so rigidly moving away from informal notes to these massive framework contracts?
Well, what's fascinating here is that a framework contract creates enforceable structural integrity.
Okay.
It's all about eliminating ambiguity from day one, so that both the institution and the client are protected by a single source of truth.
Because in private banking, things can get pretty informal, right?
Yeah.
Lots of phone calls and quick emails.
Exactly. And relying on a sticky note, to use your analogy, is a huge risk. The framework contract sets the rules of the game permanently.
So we know where the rules live. They live in the A framework contract, which brings us to the first big hurdle, check one. We have to figure out exactly who is signing it.
Right, qualifying the client.
Yeah, because the rules radically change based on the client's status, don't they?
They absolutely do. And our sources point us directly to Article 59 of the 2009 Payment Services Law for this.
Okay, what does Article 59 say?
So it allows the bank and the client to disapply all or part of Title III of the law. Title III contains a lot of strict consumer protections.
Wait, they could just ignore the consumer protections?
Well, only if the payment service user is not a consumer. That's the catch.
Okay.
And crucially, this derogation, this choice to opt out, must be explicitly written into the contract. It can never just be inferred from the relationship.
Okay, but let me push back on that rigidity for a second.
Sure.
Because if a private banking client comes in and they have, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars in assets.
Right.
And they run a family office, aren't they obviously not a standard retail consumer?
You'd think so, yeah.
So why can't the bank just infer their status and skip all the red tape?
This raises an important question about legal certainty, actually. It's dangerous to make assumptions in contract law.
Even if the person is a literal billionaire.
Even then, the law leaves absolutely no room for guessing games. The derogation must be explicit.
Why is it so strict?
Because implying a non-consumer status could strip a client of vital protections without their formal consent. You can't just assume someone wants to give up their legal rights just because they're wealthy.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you have to get it explicitly in writing.
Exactly. Every single time.
All right, so once the client is properly classified, the next immediate hurdle is when and how they receive these terms. Which brings us to check two.
Timing and the durable medium.
Timing is everything here. The sources bring up Article 70 of the law.
Article 70.
It mandates that the information and conditions must be provided on paper or another durable medium before the user is bound by the contract.
Right. Before that word is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. This whole concept of the durable medium,
Yeah.
it's the difference between a fleeting verbal promise
Yeah.
and, like, carving the rules into stone.
That's a great analogy, actually.
But in a fast-paced, digital, private banking environment, how critical is this before you are bound timing? I mean, is this basically just to prevent bait-and-switch tactics?
That is exactly what it is. The timing requirement ensures true informed consent.
Okay.
An agreement is only valid if the client had a permanent, unalterable record of what they were agreeing to prior to crossing the finish line.
So a standard web page wouldn't work, because the bank could just change the text the next day.
Exactly. A regular web page is not a durable medium because it can be altered without the client knowing. The client needs a record they can keep and reproduce unchanged.
Like a locked PDF or a physical piece of paper.
Yes, something that freezes the information at that exact moment in time.
That's fascinating. Okay, so we have the who, we have the when, and we have the how.
Right.
Now we have to dive into the what. What exactly is inside this document? And more importantly, what happens if a dispute arises?
This is check 3. Content, evidence, and the burden of proof.
And this is where things get really intense for the banks.
Oh, absolutely. Article 71 dictates what this contract must cover.
Which is a massive list, right?
It is. It has to cover the provider, the services, charges, interest rates, communication methods, safeguards, how amendments are made, termination.
The complaints process I saw in the sources.
Yes, everything. But the real heavy hitter here is Article 60-1.
Okay, Article 60-1. What does that do?
It places the burden of proof squarely on the payment service provider, on the bank.
So what does this all mean practically? Like, if a client claims they were never informed about a specific fee or a complaint process, does the bank automatically lose that fight unless they have the literal receipts?
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this rule completely shifts the power dynamic.
Wow.
Usually, if you make a claim, you have to prove it. But here, the bank has to prove they did their job.
They have to prove they provided the information on that durable medium.
Exactly. It transforms compliance from a mere legal checklist into a massive operational necessity.
I can imagine.
Institutions are forced to maintain flawless, easily retrievable records just to defend themselves against potential abuse.
So the IT department is suddenly just as important as the legal department.
Oh, 100%. If the IT systems can't pull up that specific digital receipt from 5 years ago, the bank loses.
That is wild. Okay, so getting the contract signed on day one is hard enough.
Very hard.
But a private banking relationship can last for decades.
Right. Generations, even.
So how do these rules apply as time goes on? And what's coming next?
Well, that's where we look at the life cycle and future proofing. Articles 72, 73, and 74 deal with what we call life cycle controls.
Life cycle controls, meaning it doesn't stop after onboarding.
Right. You have to ensure ongoing access to the terms. You need strict rules for amendment notices and termination.
And I imagine you need consistency across all client-facing docs, right? Fee schedules, cutoff times, fraud reporting.
Yes, throughout the entire relationship. Every time you change a fee, you have to follow the durable medium rules all over again.
How does an institution keep all these moving parts perfectly coherent over the entire life of the relationship without dropping the ball?
It's an immense operational challenge. The objective is clear, coherent info at each stage.
Sounds like a logistical nightmare, honestly.
It can be. And on top of that, institutions have to keep an eye on the horizon. The EU is working on PSD3 and PSR.
Right. The proposal for a directive and the proposal for a regulation on payment services.
Exactly. Now, these signal a big EU-level recast, but they do not replace the current Luxembourg checks we just talked about.
So banks can't just throw out their current systems and wait for the new rules.
No. Keeping an eye on PSD3 and PSR is vital for future-proofing these existing operations as the EU framework evolves. The core principles aren't going away.
So you have to master the 2009 law to even have a hope of complying with the future regulations.
Precisely. It's building on the foundation.
Wow. Okay. Let's briefly recap the journey we've been on for the listener, because this was a lot of dense material.
It really was.
We started with the idea of testing duties through the framework contract, avoiding those flimsy commercial notes.
The foundation.
Then we had check 1, which was qualifying the client, making sure you explicitly write down if they aren't a consumer.
Right. No assumptions allowed.
Then check 2, ensuring proper timing on a durable medium, getting it to them before they are bound.
Crucial for informed consent.
And check 3, managing the strict content requirements and that heavy burden of proof. The bank has to keep the receipts,
They absolutely do.
all while maintaining consistency across the relationship's life cycle. It's a massive undertaking.
It's the hidden architecture of trust in banking.
That's a perfect way to phrase it. So, to wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a compelling forward-looking thought to explore on your own.
Oh, I like these.
Yeah, as we prepare for this incoming wave of EU regulations like PSD3 and PSR, consider this. How will the legal definition of a durable medium and clear information have to adapt in our increasingly automated, algorithm-driven world?
That's a huge question.
Right. If banking becomes completely invisible and frictionless, happening in the background through AI, how will institutions continue to prove they've adequately informed you?
It's a real paradox.
It is. Frictionless banking meets rigid legal friction. It's definitely something to think about as the industry evolves.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.